Hi, and welcome to Mondays with Marlo. I am so excited today because for months you have been writing in and saying you really want to talk about love and sex and relationships, and it's hard to find somebody who's really legitimate and knows what they're talking about, but we found somebody, the great love and sex expert, Dr. Pepper Schwartz, whose real name is Judy.
I'm not going to tell you secrets anymore.
She's Pepper now. Her little brother named her that. Anyway, we're very excited to have you. Our community needs you. We've got a million questions for you. So if you don't mind, we're going to dig right in because we always run out of time. Great. So here we go. This is from Kate. She says, I just read 50 Shades of Grey, and I'd really like to try S&M. I just feel really awkward about asking my partner. So how do I suggest trying this and maybe using sex toys without completely freaking him out? Now, that's a good question.
It is a great question, Kate, because even though you'd think a man would really like this sort of thing, he may not. He may be a little bit queasy and worried about it as well. So what I would suggest is to show him the book. Show him the passages, read a little bit together, and see if he thinks that's kind of sexy. And say to him what you think sexy in it. Maybe the idea of being tied up in a very simple way. I mean, you don't have to go whole hog into this thing right away. But, you don't have to buy all the equipment. See if you like it. See if he likes it. But read the passages together. Show him what you might enjoy. And if he's sort of interested, do a little bitty thing, and you can move it up a few steps. But I think that you're right. Be cautious. Be collectively communicative about this, and you might find a whole new way to play.
And also, S&M always sounded to me like it was going to be painful, like somebody was going to come in with a chain and beat you up. So you kind of have to talk about the fact that it isn't that.
I wouldn't call it S&M because you're right, it conjures all that and it can. I mean, we're talking about S&M light here. We're talking about play, not the people who are into pain or punishing.
Right.
And some people would rather call it discipline and bondage, where you get tied up a little bit, you play roles a little bit. Even in the book, there's one extreme scene, and then she withdraws from the whole thing. And after that, it's always consensual.
Yes.
One of the good things for your audience, for you, Kate, and everyone else, is do a little reading about this, too. Because there's some rules to playing in this sphere, and you might as well learn them to make sure it's fun and not something that's frightening.
That's right. That's right. This is from Michelle. How do you have comfortable sex in the shower with your boyfriend? Also, we use condoms, which adds a variable.
Well, first of all, I love that you use condoms. I think that's exactly right. Safe sex is so important, and it doesn't ruin the fun at all. If you have condoms that have some kind of lubricant with them, you might want to be careful because it's a little bit slippery, right? And I would put some kind of bath mat down there. I mean, people do fall in the shower, and it's no fun. You can really get hurt. So I would say if you're going to soap each other up, and if you're going to have sex that's playful in the shower, which is very sexy, very sensual, make sure your footing is firm, and make sure you can put these condoms on before you start. When you're outside of the shower,
yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I mean, then because you don't want to try in the middle of it. Sometimes it doesn't seem like a good idea in the middle of it. Then you don't use it at all. Then it isn't safe.
Right.
So start ahead of time.
Good idea. This is from Pam. She says, "Hi, it's kind of embarrassing, but here goes. Doggy style kind of hurts me no matter how lubricated I am, but it's my boyfriend's favorite position. I feel like a drag when I say I don't want to do it, which is every time. He thinks he's doing something wrong, but it's really not him. Any tips on how to position ourselves so that it doesn't hurt at least as much?" And this is Pam.
Well, Pam, there's a couple things I would say. First of all, you foreshorten the vaginal barrel when you're having sex doggy style. It gets more penetration, which feels good to some people. But if your boyfriend's kind of big, what could happen is he's getting your cervix. He's hitting the cervix. Cervix has a lot of nerve endings on it, and therefore it could be painful. So have him not be too vigorous. Don't have him thrust too hard. See if he can go much more gently. You could even see if maybe you're not lubricated enough. You could find maybe a silicone lubricant that's a little bit more slippery, or you can use something like a long-lasting vaginal moisturizer like Replens, which will plump up those tissue, make them more resistant. Your tissues could be fragile depending on how old you are and how dry you are. And if that doesn't work, if you just can't find a comfortable, restrained way to do it, side by side or spoon position has much less penetration. You're a little bit less, the cervix is much higher up, and you shouldn't have as much pain.
Good. This is from Jan. Hi, Dr. Schwartz. My husband and I don't get to spend a lot of time together. We both have very demanding jobs, 2 young kids, and he commutes 2 hours to work every day. It seems like any time we have just a little bit of time to ourselves, all we want to do is sleep. I really like to rekindle our romance and just get closer to him, but I have no idea how to start. Do you have any advice?
Well, I'm really glad you're asking, because this is a really important
Yes,
thing.
it is.
This describes like most people's
Right,
lives,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
And so I would say you have to have date nights. You have to get a sitter or your parents or somebody to come in and give you some time together. Nothing else replaces that. You can't be the hot couple you were if you're got one ear on the kids and you're doing it, after the late show, which is when everybody has their sort of, kind of like practical sex, But if you want hot, you need time alone. You need to get a getaway. And so your kids will survive. There must be some close friend, some family member you would trust your family with for at least one evening, or maybe taking a half a day off during Saturday or something, if that's it. Don't back burner this. It's not less important than the other things you do with your time. Let your house be dirty for Saturday and go and have time together. If you take the time to do it right, you'd be surprised what kind of lovers you can turn into.
That's great. This is from Debbie. I'd like to know, why is dating so difficult in your 40s, or is it just me?
It's just you, Debbie.
No, I'm glad I'm not dating. I don't know how to do it.
You can learn it. I actually think it can be a lot more fun. I know it's difficult because, you just don't happen to meet somebody in class or something like that the way you might have before,
Right.
But you're smarter and you're wiser and you know yourself better. And so maybe you're a little pickier because, when you're young, everybody looks good, your hormones are going, you're not so picky. But now you know more of who you want, and so maybe it's a little harder to get started, but you'll do better within the relationship. I actually am a big fan of online dating because I think one of the problems is that when you get older, you just don't have networks. You don't meet people anymore.
Yeah.
So, that's a longer answer than maybe you want, but basically take a look at that.
Do you have an online place you like?
Well, I like a bunch of them, actually. Perfectmatch.com is one of the ones I've worked with. But I think there's also like niche ones. There's J-Date if you are or want someone Jewish. There's Christian Date. There's Fit Singles where you can't have more than 0 body fat. So don't go there if you're not, really fit. But you can just look blank dating, equestrian dating. You can go to Match.com, which is one of the bigger ones. I like the ones that involve some payment. Because I think then they're not anonymous. We have their credit card, somebody complains, and you have to think about safety, but think about it as opening new networks.
Right.
And people who are online now are not different from people who are offline. You could meet a creep at a cocktail party, right?
Exactly.
You have to do your due diligence everywhere.
Right.
But believe in yourself, and I really, truly believe people can find love this way.
I think so, too. This is from Helen. I really love this question, as I've heard about this from a lot of women. Why is it that my husband of 4 years told me 5 years ago when he first met me that he was first drawn to me because of my outgoing personality and that I'm not afraid to speak in front of thousands? I have a fabulous job in entertainment. I rub elbows with celebrities, but now he's jealous of the same thing and hates me for what he said he loved me for. I don't get it.
Well, it's sad because he should love you more, absolutely. Right. And I think he's feeling insecure. There's something in his life that's not going well. So talk to him. See what support he needs. Maybe he needs to change his job. Maybe he needs to stop working and enjoy life more. He needs to be happier because if he's not happy, he seems to be taking it out on you. The other thing is you could go into some couples therapy. And the third party can maybe interpret himself to himself.
Right.
But bottom line is I don't think any woman should put up with a man who's not happy for her success and happiness.
Right, exactly.
And that's corrosive. So you need to fix that, or the marriage is just not going to be something that supports
or
you.
change your personality for somebody. You can't do that.
No, you can't. You are who you are, and you're proud of it.
Exactly.
You should be.
This is from Meredith. Has dating changed over the last 20, 30, or 50 years? Are there new rules that I don't know about? Well, it certainly has changed.
Oh, it has. It has. Well,
but are there new rules?
It's surprising how the old rules kind of stick around. There's still some boy-girl stuff that if you ignore, at your peril. But people have sex a lot sooner. Hello, and maybe 2 dates,
And women do the asking.
And women can do the asking. But I'll tell you, quite honestly, that's still fuzzy territory.
Is it?
You know, you could maybe do it once, but if you do it a couple times, it'll take the most liberated man in the world. They want you to be sort of up there, but not more than them. You know, think of that as not more than them in any category, whether it's initiating sex or initiating a date or whatever. Yeah, being right, you know, back and forth, mutual. But they
cooperative.
Cooperative. I like that. But not the leader. It takes an unusual man to say that, you know, for example, one of the things is paying in a date. Men after a while want a woman to contribute. I mean, they actually do.
Yes.
But on the other hand, they don't want her to take over. So it's a delicate dance. It really is.
It is. This is from Tina. She says, I've been in a relationship for 8 years, and while my partner and I have sex semi-regularly, I don't know what semi-regularly means, it's always the same. Are there any tips on how to spice things up?
Yeah, well, I would say I actually have a book.
Do you? What's the name of your book?
Well, one of the books that I've written is called The Getaway Guide to a Great Sex Weekend. And it gives you ideas about going away and new positions to try, and new products to try. You know, maybe you want to get rid of vaginal odors, so you get a little refresher. They have a refresh product. Maybe you want a different kind of lubricant. Maybe you want one that has a taste to it. Maybe you just want to take a blindfold and play with sight, with your senses. It's all in the book, or buy anybody's book and use it as a way to kind of suggest new things that are fun for both of you. If you read through it, you could both like yellow pencil what you like and say, okay, let's try this. And when you both yellow pencil the same thing, you try it.
And sometimes it's just time, giving yourselves the time alone without having anybody around or any other responsibility. I think that's very helpful.
I totally agree, but I do think it's real easy for people to get in a rut. Okay, this works. I touch this, then I touch that, then I touch that, then she has an orgasm. You know, we do that, right? And so you need to kind of really disrupt that pattern, not because it isn't good, but because it's a little boring.
Boring, exactly. Well, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
This is from Erin. I'm wondering if there are any hidden G-spots on men that most women don't know about.
I do know one, but most men don't want you to try, and that's basically the prostate gland. The prostate is a very sexy gland, and gay men know about it and use it regularly, but heterosexual men, because they're a little phobic about the anus, you know, you're going to have to sort of say, okay, you'd have to lubricate your finger. You might want to put something on it, something like a finger condom. And if you touch you go in about 2 inches, and if you touch the prostate gland, you get two things for one of which is very arousing to men. And they can actually have an orgasm without ejaculating. So that's a little surprise that's in there. But also, the prostate gland really needs to be examined, and you can do it a whole lot nicer than the doctor can. So if you touch it, it should feel like a smooth two parts of like a walnut, very, very smooth. And if it isn't, then you want to send your guy to the doctor because something could be wrong. So 2 for 1.
Okay.
If he'll let you do it.
This is Yolanda. Alternatives to birth control other than the NuvaRing if you're sensitive to hormone stuff. I hate condoms, but went on hormonal birth control for 2 months and was so depressed from it that I never want to go back on it. I was on the NuvaRing and my GYN says the pill has even more hormones. So is there an alternative to birth control other than the NuvaRing and other than condoms? And she doesn't want to take pills. There isn't anything else, is there?
There might be some research doc, which I am not, that knows something out there.
Yes.
But I would just say, let's revisit condoms for 1 minute. I don't know if you've been to the new ones. Truth be told, I'm on the advisory committee to Trojan, but I've learned more about it because of it. Some of them are micro thin. You cannot even feel them. They're not your grandfather's or your dad's or even 10 years ago's condoms. They're so unobtrusive.
I don't know that we know what our grandfathers used.
Well, it's true. Good point. But yeah, we don't want to go there. Okay, I agree. Bad pepper. But what I'm saying here is that you might want to take a look at there's one called Ecstasy, where there's a condom within a condom, and then there's a lubricant in it, and they're micro thin, but they're safe, and they feel good. In fact, they're selling them now as sex toys. So if you want something that doesn't screw around with your body and your hormones, at least give this a try and see if there's maybe something there for you.
Good. This is from Stephanie. I'm 48 and single. I don't date much because I have a really low sex drive. I'd like to feel more excited, but I just don't. Is there anything I can do to up my libido, or is this normal at my age? She's 48.
It's not normal at your age. It could be that you're depressed, which depresses everything. And if you take an SSRI like Paxil or Prozac or any of those, they just kill sexual arousal. If you have a lot of medications, heart medications, diabetes, blood pressure, they all have things that fool around with your serotonin and basically can kill your libido. So if you're on any medications, go ask your doctor about that. If you're not on an antidepressant, but you don't feel good about the world in general, you're not going to feel good about your sex drive either. Failing all that, you could go see an endocrinologist and see if, in fact, your testosterone endocrine system is out of whack. And then failing all that, go see a therapist and see what else you might talk about.
Right. Good luck.
Yeah.
This is from Marianne. Are there some lubes that are better than others? I tried Astroglide, but I had a weird reaction with my skin.
To tell you the truth, I don't like Astroglide either.
Oh, really?
I really don't. I think it's sticky, and I hate lubricants that are sticky. You
Right.
know, you just feel like that.
Right.
So
You brought something today, didn't you?
well, those aren't lubricants. Those Replens, which is a vaginal moisturizer, which would help, which would replace your own, your own sense of moisture, which will help a whole lot.
Right.
And then there's the Refresh that will really get after bacterial vaginosis, and there's no smell after intercourse, which sometimes the semen and the vaginal fluids get together and they make an odor that's not too sexy. But I'll tell you what I do like in lubricants. I like something called Pink. I think it's just great. I like the silicone lubricants. I like Eros pretty much. I know that there's a whole bunch of other ones on the market. And you know what else? If you go to these sex stores, and sex stores are better these days. It's not like men with raincoats waiting for you. They're often, most of them are actually run by women.
Oh, that's good. It'd be embarrassing otherwise.
Yeah, no, and a lot of them look like Bloomingdale's. I mean, they really do. And you go in there.
The makeup counter.
I mean, really. And you go in there, you swear, they're much nicer now. And a lot of them will have baskets with little sample lubricants in them.
Oh, great.
So you could go try a lot, because after all, your body chemistry is different from anybody else's. It's yours. And so what lubricant I like, or you might like, or anyone else might like, might not feel right to you. So
But Pink is one that you like.
I like that a lot.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
All right.
And Eros is good. And there's also some that are more like creams. You can try them out.
This is from Tricia. Any suggestions for sex with a husband who has a bad heart? We're both ancient, but still at it. Thanks, Pepper. Well, congratulations.
I'm so glad. I myself, want to, sort of go into the sunset. And it gets harder and harder because people get, knees that hurt and hips that hurt. So I would say one of the easy positions that don't put too much stress on you are the ones where you're on your side, the guy's back the guy's front to your back, where you're both sort of on your back and you can kind of throw a leg over the other person and then sort of enter through that position. Things that don't put pressure on your back. The things that'll be hard in your back would be if it was the woman on top or doggy positions. Those really get at the lower back. But you want something that's really comfortable and lovable, and those are positions that I think are easy for older people.
This is from Patricia. What do you do when he says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore?
You cry.
You leave.
You do, because he's saying, you're like family, but, you don't want to be a sibling to somebody. You want to be the person they love. And I think you don't want to ask too little for yourself. There is somebody out there who will love you enormously, and they won't say that to you.
And they'll be in love with you.
Yeah, you want to be in love, and you want the same back. So that's sad, but don't try and conquer it. Go and find somebody who can love you as much as you need.
Right, and also he's being honest. So,
yeah, that's true, and that's fair.
You can behave in an honest way and say it's not enough.
I like that.
Yep. This is from Pam. I had a breast reduction 10 years ago, and the sensitivity never returned to my breasts. I didn't realize that happened.
It's very common.
Oh, dear. What are the other erogenous zones in the body other than the vagina?
Well, almost anything
Yeah,
can
the
be
neck.
once you
Yeah.
It's the touch that matters.
Yeah.
I think someone strokes your neck, the small of the nape of your neck, the small of your back, from your ankles right up to
Absolutely.
your crotch, very gently, very sensually. One way to find out would be to massage each other and play with different kinds of pressure. See what you like. Maybe you like a light tickling touch. Maybe you like a deeper massage. People have even your forehead, your jawline, everything. can make you kind of turn on. Remember, your body is like a road of interconnecting roads of nerves. And if you start getting one of the nerves excited, it'll go all the way through the body. And that's, it's not just the nipples and the breasts, it's every part
and
of the body.
And the skin is sensitive.
You bet.
Skin
So
is very sensitive.
play with that touch.
The skin is an organ.
It's your best and biggest organ.
Right. This is from Lorraine. This is great. I bet you have an answer for this. What are 3 common assumptions about sex that are totally wrong?
Only 3. Okay, that you start not wanting sex because you're older. It's not inevitable with age at all. That you can't be as passionate within a long-term relationship as in a short-term one. You can, but you have to work at it. And that you can't have an orgasm that's just as vivid as when you were first working at it, but you need to address the clitoral area in maybe a new way. I mean, one of the, I think, big myths is that you've got to have, as a woman, you've got to have your orgasm through intercourse. This is the hardest way for women to have orgasms. And in fact, there is no difference between a vaginal and a clitoral orgasm. The fact is the clitoris is a much bigger organ than you think. It's not just that little button. People think there's a myth, that the clitoris is just this little button between the labial lips. No, the whole shaft is analogous to the penis shaft. Lots of great nerves there. And then 2 big nerves come down the opening of the vagina. So when you're getting stimulated in the vagina, you're actually also doing the clitoral nerves. There's not many nerves in the vaginal barrel. They're at the front and a little bit at the back, at the cervix. So the whole idea that you have to do it by intercourse alone is the wrong way to think about how you can get the most intense orgasms, which is being touched while you're having intercourse or have an orgasm after you've had intercourse through these kinds of touch. And to play with that. So those are 3. There's many more.
Those are great. Let's see. This is from Hank. I have never felt sexual at all. For years I thought I was gay just because women didn't turn me on, but men don't either. I recently came upon information on the internet that 1% of people are asexual. There's even dating sites for them, and I realize that's what I am. Are there any tips on how to tell people this and how to date like this? I still want companionship, but I don't want sex. It just doesn't seem to be a very known thing.
No, it isn't. I've heard of this. The only thing I would just say is go get your testosterone looked at. Sometimes men are asexual because they really have low testosterone and they can see what would happen if they added some. On the other hand, if you're content like this, I think you're doing the best you can, which is to look at sites on the internet for people who also feel that way. Because for most people, this would be a very frustrating relationship to be in. So you need to find somebody through these networks who feels the same way, and that's what they want out of a relationship.
This is kind of a scary one, and I hope we can help. This is from Cooper. My friend married...
my son's name's Cooper.
Oh, really? Well, I don't think this is...
No, I don't think this is it. No.
Okay, so this is from Cooper. My friend married a sociopath last year.
Oh, that's too bad.
He wasn't great to begin with, but we all just went along with it. And after the wedding, he turned quickly. She was basically a hostage in her own home and emotions and her body. She left him after 3 months, but she has a support system, a huge one. Is there any advice for the women who aren't so lucky, who do marry sociopaths? I don't think people know what it's really like to be married to one, and many women do not know how to get out. Well, what's a sociopath? What are we talking about, actually?
Well, a sociopath is someone who cares for no one but themselves, and they will do anything to get what they need, tell you what they need to tell you, lie like hell, do something in a very planful way. They have no conscience.
Right.
It's all about them.
I see.
And they're not a psychopath because they know reality. They manipulate reality. And the only thing, I've heard quite a few stories like this recently.
Really?
One of the things is to never, never, never enter into a serious and particularly a legal relationship in a short amount of time. Because most sociopaths can charm you only so long.
Right.
And then some kind of truth will come up. The lies will start to develop. But sociopaths, what they want to do is close the deal quickly because they know that.
Oh, I see.
So they want to get, we're in love, let's elope after 3 months or something like that. So what I would say is the more charming the person is, the more they tell you everything you want to hear, the more you think that this is your prince come true, the more cautious you should be.
Right.
Because
what do they say? If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, I think you should put embroider that on everybody's pillow.
Right. This is from Melissa. My boyfriend at the time cheated on me with a 50-year-old man and then slept with me afterward. Did I turn him bi? I never thought he would do that. Is it possible to turn a guy off from girls?
No.
No.
No, it's not about you. He was probably already bi, or he was thinking that and hadn't experienced it yet. And he didn't, he was, a lot of men who are bi or let's say primarily gay and they don't feel good about it, they will try and make a relationship with a woman because they would really prefer not to be gay or not to exercise that bi part of themselves. And then, because most of our sexual urges are deep and constant and unavoidable, they'll find themselves attracted, and there you are. You feel like, what did I do wrong? It wasn't about you.
No.
I wish that we weren't so homophobic in this society, because one of the casualties of that
Exactly.
is that men will marry
That's
women
right.
when they should just
That's
be with
right.
another
That's
man.
Exactly.
You know?
It's awful for everybody.
Yeah.
This is from Aaron. Hi, Dr. Schwartz. My boyfriend has a high-stress job, and he's always taking his stress out on me. When he's had a bad day at work, I just know he's going to pick on me for something, which inevitably leads to a fight. How can I stop this cycle from continuing? I'm so burnt out on fighting.
Well, he doesn't sound like a really good prospect to me, you know?
This sounds like a sociopath.
Yeah, well, he could be a sociopath, or he could be a guy with anger problems.
Right, right.
You know, he could be a guy, you know, who is narcissistic, and so
Right,
he
right.
there's whatever he is, he's not good. And
Well,
so,
it isn't good to know that when he's had a bad day at work, you're going to be in pain over that. That's awful.
No, he should come to you as his haven and his
Right.
warmth and appreciate
Or
you
lock
for that.
himself in his room till he gets over it.
That's right, or get over
Yeah,
it. So I
right.
would say, get this guy to a therapist. And if he doesn't want to go, if he doesn't want to work on this, then get yourself another guy.
I think so too. I agree. This is something made me really feel sorry for her. This is from Lorena. She says, hello, Dr. Schwartz. My husband and I have a decent sex life, but oftentimes I get distracted during the act. My husband can have sex with the TV blasting, the dog barking, and the kids screaming outside of our bedroom door. He gets offended when a toothpaste commercial comes on, and I just can't continue having sex. Why do I need a certain environment to be turned on? Am I weird?
No, your husband's weird.
Right.
Most people need to be in the moment.
I
They
could
can't
not.
have their
I
limit.
mean, I would get distracted by a toothpaste commercial. Why do you have the TV set on anyway?
I mean, why not unplug the TV?
Right.
You know what I mean? I just think that doesn't seem like a lot to ask.
All right.
And most, and do something else, and we have like a wave machine where you hear the action, of the scene.
Right.
Or music on. A lot of people make love to music. Or dim lights, so that you're
Right.
in your little cocoon of each other.
Right.
Most people need that focus. Your husband obviously is impermeable,
Right.
but for you, it's not too much to ask.
But you
to
also
create
need
the scene.
a day off. They need to go someplace without the dog and the children. Right?
Yeah, I would.
It's time. It's time.
I agree. I don't think anybody should have sex in a room that has kitty litter. I mean, I just think there's things to
There's something.
get out of the focus.
Right. This is from Matt. Matt is asking the age-old question. Is it possible to be sexually satisfied if you're only having sex with one person for the rest of your life? I'm terrified of getting married for this very reason.
So it's a really good time not to get married.
Right.
Because what happens at some point is you really do feel like that's the person you want to vest in. And you've had a lot of sexual experience, and somehow at some point it starts to feel like the same. It starts to feel uninteresting. You've been there, done that. It's not one more beautiful body or one more entrancing personality. You want to go deeper and not wider. You want one person. And if you don't feel that, don't get married. Don't get married until you do feel that. If you never feel that, maybe marriage isn't for you. But I think that there is a time in life where people really want to trust that all the energy and all the love and all the trust is with the person they're with. Granted, sometimes people have a slip because they do get attracted to someone else. And people recover that, but they don't recover from repeated things like that. So don't do something just because your friends are getting married.
Yeah.
Wait until it's something that you understand. You understand your gut,
Right.
and you really want it.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you know that and you don't want to get married, because you wouldn't be a good husband. You would really, you're not a good risk. So I think it's great that you see it, and don't get married till you feel that you can do it.
And I would say that I do think it's possible to be sexually satisfied with one person.
I do
I
too.
think you have to work at it, to make it deeper and better and interesting, but I think it's very possible.
This is from Kim. Dr. Schwartz, I just had a baby 2 weeks ago, and I was wondering when will I be able to have sex again? My doctor said 4 to 6 weeks was standard, but my husband and I are both very anxious to get back into the swing.
Oh, we love you. Your husband's a lucky woman. I'm a man, pardon me. But yes, basically the only issue about starting sex again is pain.
Right.
It takes a while from the vaginal area, the whole vulva to sort of recover from what's been a little traumatic, delivering, a 7-pound infant. So yeah, most people wait, or they've had an episiotomy and there's been some tearing that needs to recover. But if you haven't had an episiotomy and you're not feeling it, try sort of gently and slowly. And as soon as you feel it's comfortable, it's fine.
This is interesting. This is from Reed. Dr. Schwartz, I'm just getting back into the dating scene after divorce. I was only married for a very short time, so I feel awkward about bringing that up to my dates. We split up because my ex-wife had mental issues. Should I keep this private, or should I divulge my history right away? I don't want to feel like I'm deceiving anyone.
It's not deceiving not to tell everything about you. You don't owe somebody you've just met the deepest details of your life. You are not getting a pledge to marry someone when you take them out for coffee, or even a few movie dates. When something starts to get more serious, you can talk about the intimate details of your life. But I sometimes think when people start a relationship and they just sort of throw everything out, every illness they've ever had, every worry, every rotten kid, whatever their problem is, it's just not appropriate until different kinds of understandings and interest and romanticism are on the table.
Right. I'm rushing because we're going to run out of time, and we've got so many questions.
Okay.
So I want to get these questions in. This is from Lynn. She says, my father passed away over 30 years ago. My mother's never remarried or even dated. She used to be so busy working and raising us, her children. But now that we're all grown up and moved out, I think she should start dating again. She's expressed some interest in dating, but never really goes out or meets anyone. How can I get my 50-plus mom dating again?
Easy. Go online with her. Go online with her. Be her wing woman. Go get on one or several of the sites. Find when she finds comfortable. Fill it out the profile for her. Let her hold her hand through it, and she'll get into it, and she'll like it. And it's the best place for women over 50 to find somebody. I actually am engaged now, and I met my guy online, so
really?
she can too.
Oh,
Yeah,
how
I did.
exciting!
Yeah.
That's great. Well, there you go, a success story. This is from Carolyn. Hi, Dr. Schwartz. I wanted to know if you had any tips on keeping a long-distance relationship romantic and sexy. My boyfriend just moved away, and I really want to make sure we don't drift apart. What should we do?
Skype. What you should do is Skype.
She knows everything. That's right.
No, but these are my areas that I love to help. If you get on Skype together, you could have dinner every night together. You could see each other, you could talk, you could say good night, or you could have, a little moment when you're both in bed and Skype to each other. Having a Skype, or there's also, I think Google has a Google Plus thing. You can also do it on that. That one might be free, I'm not sure. But in any case, you can see each other, you can talk, you can actually have a date every night, and that will keep you close.
That's sweet. This is from Linda. Is there sex after we turn 60 and have been married for 40 years?
Yeah, but you're going to have to work at it because you don't stop. The best way to predict keeping sex is to not stopping it. So
if you don't lose it, you use it. Or if you don't use it, you lose it.
It's true. It's true. Or you can re-up, but don't let it get less and less and less. Create more, but you might have to romance each other more. Get a getaway. Go to a lovely place. Have a beautiful dinner. Go to a sex shop and pick something funny out together. You can do it online, or you can go to some of these places that are no longer so frightening. But just make a commitment that you guys will have sex once a week or once every 2 weeks at the very least. And even if you don't feel like it that time, if you start playing around, you will feel it. So yeah, 40 years, of course you know everything about each other. So remove yourself from what you know. Go take a trip. Go to a new place to dinner. Don't do the rut, and you can kind of freshen up that sex life.
Right. Okay, this is our last one. Anna, how do online dating websites match people? I've heard so many rumors, but I really don't know what to believe. Is it totally random? Does it depend on your interests? I'm so curious as to what goes on behind the scenes of a website like that. So I think this is somebody who wants to have faith in it. Can I trust it? Is it really, or is it just the Wizard of Oz behind that curtain?
No, they can trust them to an extent. And that is to say that most of the big sites have matching systems. I did an algorithm for Perfect Match, which was based on the Myers-Briggs, and we don't have time to go into it. But they will help you find that particular one will help you find someone who is a similar personality to the one that you would like to explore. And there's others. Almost all the big sites have them. They all, I think, give you some insight about yourself and about the kind of person you'd like to match. Do they find your one and only for you? No.
You did.
Well, yeah. I did.
Well, what did you put in your application? What did you say?
Oh, this is a much longer answer.
Well, just a couple things.
Oh, but you know, I
learn
tried
from
to be
experience.
very clear about who I was.
Right.
I didn't.
Did you tell them you were a sex therapist?
I certainly didn't. Well, yes, I did tell them everything I did, but not so much about sex, because that sounds a little bit strange,
Right.
you know, on the internet.
No, I agree.
So, but you know, that I studied love and relationships and everything about
And the name of
relationships.
Pepper, they knew you had to be spicy.
Well, you don't put your name in.
Oh, you don't?
You know,
Oh.
because I was pretty well known, and so
I see.
what
Oh.
I did is actually I didn't even put my picture, and I would look for guys that I thought were interesting, send them back to my resume, and then say, if that looks good to you, I'll send a picture.
Okay.
And I also believe actually that women do better picking men than kind of vice versa. Women
Right.
have a better sense of who they'd really do well with. But I think there's lots of ways they help you. When I say they won't find your one only, I mean that they'll send you out and say, go talk to this person. This person's good for you. That doesn't mean that's the only person, and that you
Right.
should believe that that's the perfect
Right,
one.
right.
But what it'll do is it'll narrow it down to people who are more likely people that you would really fall in love with.
Right, I see.
I would just say that 98% of people online are good people, and 2% you really have to be careful about.
Well, that's
So
true anywhere.
It is true anywhere, but I'm just saying, yeah, be a very careful shopper, but it's a great place to find someone you love.
Well, good luck. And thanks, everybody. I hope this has helped you. I hope you have better luck in finding love and renewing love and having a good time with your love. See you next time.